Hi, I'm Ryan Hurley, seven-figure seller, and today I am joined by Ruben, and he is the founder and CEO of the PAS agency. It's a full-service e-commerce agency that provides comprehensive e-commerce services from marketing, listing optimization, PPC, and external consulting kind of advice. And he specializes in leveraging these advanced strategies to help increase brand visibility and grow profit for clients ranging from small sellers to companies that have over 100,000 SKUs. So Ruben, welcome to the show.
Well, Ryan, thank you very much for the invite. And I like the intro, 100,000. It's kind of I like that. Of course, it's not 100,000, but yeah, large numbers of SKUs or, one of things. And again, thank you very much for the invite.
Yeah, well, that's still a massive SKU count. So I think you have a pretty unique story, Ruben, that you started as an employee working for some agencies and kind of some bigger companies, and now you have your own agency. So could you start off by kind of telling us what your journey has been and what you're up to right now?
Yes, absolutely. So my e-commerce journey started very early on, somewhere around 2012, where the drop shipping model was very popular. And I started with doing a drop ship as a side hustle while I'm working full time and doing some arbitrage, which gradually developed into more of an, hey, I can make this as a business, as a full time, and also in that process, realizing that I can make this a career because it was very difficult to kind of get into that understanding that, hey, the fact that I sell in Amazon, the fact that I know how to craft the right copywriting and SEO on images to get a better conversion could be helpful for organization and any organization and, putting Fortune 500. So yes, I started launching my own brands. I also had an Amazon wholesale business at one point. I helped it a couple of years before fully shifting to like a private label industry more. And 2016 to 2021, it's just also, I was doing two things or three things simultaneously by my nature, which is having a full time overseeing the marketplaces as a manager, later building an entire department around it because things grew pretty rapidly until end of 2021, 2022, where it's like, hey, I've been doing this and it's been kind of a multiple work transition that I had. Like, why not take the same experience and build a company out of it? And with the COVID coming in and everything becoming a remote and that actually operating successfully, like, hey, this is your opportunity because if not now, then ever, brands and companies will trust and remote e-commerce department to run and deliver the growth. And it also was in a very interesting and very simple understanding of, hey, I know these brands that they are an wholesale and retail juggernauts working with Walmarts and others, but when it comes to selling on Amazon, they are not good. They're not efficient. They just simply cannot. A lot of times they give up. And for them to be successful, they need to hire three to four different people because in a lot of cases, just having a one Amazon guy will not be enough. You need the department graphic design to support them. You need logistics on someone that can cost them, from a few 100,000 to 500,000, depending what your salaries and how big a department is. Why not be able to do that in a very kind of flat fee and being able to provide all that support? So you hiring us, you would get every department that your Amazon account will need. You'll hire people that already have an expertise, have a background, and we'll do that very efficiently, both in time wise and financial wise. So yeah, that's was where the kind of the driving points to start an organization with later kind of a more of a values developing as we went.
Well, that's quite the story. Very impressive. And I think you've found a niche for yourself with the full service. And
Yes, absolutely.
they're really, you can have a PPC specific agency, you can have domains,
Graphic design one. Yeah.
they all tie together. And I think people want that cohesive service where the listing matches the advertising campaigns, the strategy together matches. So I think that's a great angle.
Yeah, and then you're right on point with that because right now, especially right now, more than ever, that one will not work without the other. They wanted copywriting back then, the PPC and all of that. But one of the things I was always passionate about was a strategy. Like, okay, so I have a brand that does $10,000. How we take and make that $20,000?
Yeah.
Right? It's a simple concept, but without a strategy, how you going to get there?
Mhm.
Without seeing that strategy coming to fruition and then knowing what the platform will allow you to do that would have not been possible, right? So it's another big component because like when an organization have a different level of managers who are responsible for an actual work, but also people who are responsible for strategy. We were spoken earlier before the report that, our goal for the department is X amount of dollars. How are we going to get there? Your standard agencies are not like, you know what I'm doing in Amazon. I don't really want to answer that type of questions. But when you are dealing with organizations, I get those questions, I get those bills, and I get to meet these people to report. I have to come up with, hey, this is the way we're going to go. This is the goal we're going to achieve. And this is the ways we're going to do it. So, that is what is the most holistic and concise way of describing kind of what the remote e-commerce department and PAS does. So it's different from, Amazon agencies or traditional models.
Right now, we're right in the heat of Q4, which is usually the busiest season for most sellers. I'm curious, talking about strategy, what is your kind of strategy and what are you seeing successful results with your clients in this time, like Black Friday, Cyber Monday? My own brands, I've kind of experimented with some big coupons, but more in the last 2 or 3 years with fees rising, I've actually kind of steered away from those really dropping steep price discounts and actually kind of focus more on profitability. But what are you thinking in terms of making a successful Q4?
A great question. I'm a seller myself too, right? I own 2 brands, so I'm in the same boat, not in the size that most of my clients are. That's still. So yeah, it's been a lot bigger as far as the, what they call it, BCCM, I guess. Yeah, Black Friday, BFCM, what's Cyber Monday, than it was last year. And in terms of strategies, this was something that I conveyed to pretty much all the partners way before it started, saying, hey, we're in this final stretch. We're talking about November, December, and we are going to adjust things, but the question, are we going to successful for these days, is not what we're going to do now. It's what we have done throughout these 10 months prior to that, right? So, and you're absolutely correct with those segments, like, dropping the price. Nobody's talking about the fact that Amazon extended the 30 days from being 2 days to now being 12 days. But the 12th they call it, right? So they're pushing it for the sellers to do discounts for longer. And one thing I noticed, and I've talked, what I noticed and, what because the strategies varied from account to account, is not every account, including my 2 own, seen any difference during the daily sale averages, even with those discounts during those 12 days. We've seen it good on a Black Friday, Cyber Monday. But prior to that, I was just basically giving my product $20 off and not seeing daily averages increase. When on the same brand during the Prime Day in July, I've seen 5, 8, 10 times more sales during that. So I basically, about 10 days, I gave my product $20 more than I would have. But one of the unique things we were able to capitalize on, actually a couple of case studies with that, was we utilize the Amazon outlet deals option, which just skyrocketed. And it's not every brand can do it because it's based on the eligibility. And also it's based on a discount. So you have to be able to, but what we've achieved that was significant, not just the dollar amount went just crazy during those days. It got us to be ranking organically on so many places and so many areas as far as the keyword goes, and also getting the bestseller badge on not 1, but 2 different categories. And that's all organic. Well, semi-organic. On Amazon algorithm, it sounded organic because we're not doing the pay-per-click advertising, but we're, kind of giving that affordability. So Amazon would run the email campaign showing that. So I think that was the biggest win in running an Amazon outlet deals during that period of time, and achieving that organic ranking and bestseller rankings for the 2 categories was one of the biggest achievements during that time.
Wow, that's impressive. There's a lot of strategy that goes into pricing, coupons, and discounts. And I feel like that could be a whole separate subject itself in that new discount you were talking about there. So any other thoughts on Q4? Or I'm curious to hear your thoughts as well on planning for the entire year and kind of product launches and what your approach is for that, working with the brand.
Yes, again, that is very much segmented from brand to brand. I'll share some of the things that is, closest to me, for example, on my own products. Yeah, 2025, I do expect to be another growth for an e-commerce in general in Amazon. And I guess, I want to put that aside and talk about the real disruptors. It's the Amazon itself. I think nothing disrupted the Amazon industry or generally e-commerce industry more than the Amazon itself, becoming a more bigger juggernaut, adding more members and adding more options for these businesses to grow on the Amazon itself. As far as the prep goes, my focus is going to be what the focus was for the Amazon during the 2024 Amazon Accelerate, utilizing the Amazon logistics on my advantage. It's going to be key initiatives for me. It's going to be key initiative for more brands out there for 2024, which means I know there's a lot of negativity for AWD, Amazon Warehouse and Distribution, AGL, Amazon Global Logistics. I've been a big favor of all these programs from very early on, and it's getting better. So I'm going to be more focusing on that in 2025. Also, another focus for all the brands and my brands also specifically is going to be a general marketing strategies, not an Amazon paid ads, but what is a marketing holistically look for the Amazon. Amazon, you noticed, started giving a lot more data right now than ever before. It still does not give you the first-hand data that the Shopify would, but it still collects those data and gives it to you in the form of brand tailored promotions. All right. Now you know the ad abandonment rate. Now you know people who search similar products. So all that data. And that is part that fuels an overall marketing, which is you asked about the coupons and promotions. What do you do? Well, the way we do it, we want to understand again strategically what we want to achieve for that brand and what will work. Right. So we're doing coupons, we're doing promotions. A lot of people seem to miss this fact that these tools, for example, the promotions and deals, are as equal marketing tool and as equal to the paid ads as ever before. Because let's think for a sec. When it comes to advertising, one of the main metrics that is being tossed around, the ACOS, and I love ACOS, it's a cost per acquisition percentage, right? It's what the percentage you give from your profitability to acquire that customer. Okay, so let's put that thought aside. Let's say it's an average like 20%, whatever it is. So now you think about the promotion, now you think about the deals. So what will get you new customers? Well, if you run a deal for the 20%. So we're looking at these promotions and deals as a way of a discounting. I look at it as an ACOS. I look at it as a way to acquire customers. And with this, it's a flat fee. I don't have to guess it. I'm getting more customers, I'm acquiring them, and that's also considered as an organic approach. One of the gems, aside from promotions, I love them. Quantity promotions, cross-selling promotions, when done it strategically, done it right, and combined with an advertising can do wonders. But one of the gems that is unfortunately still in beta, and some accounts have and some accounts don't, is the Creators Connection. It's the Amazon UGC platform. Oh man, if you know how to manage that, and whoever does TikTok and TikTok affiliates can speak about that because it's very much similar. I think it's an amazing opportunity for these brands to capitalize on it. And it's very affordable. And when it works, it works. Believe me when I say it. In a summary, 2025, I think the logistics and the mentioned programs is going to be focused for me and for my brands, and also being able to provide holistic marketing strategies and growth to the brands. Very big and famous brand the other day. Like, how are you going to grow the sales without telling me that you're going to increase in advertising budgets, right? That's what they want to know, because offering these marketing tools, I think it's a great opportunity to do that.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of new programs out there which helping a lot of sellers just trying to wrap their head around. The ACOS has kind of been drilled into people from, I think, a lot of YouTubers and just ACOS. But there's so many more. Tacos is even a little better. I prefer that one. But then just looking at your overall profitability and sales on the SKU, or whether it comes from this campaign, you got to look at it all together. So I really like
it's not just it's a product ACOS, and also it varies from a product type to product type. If I'm selling a product, for example, on one of our example, which is maple syrup, it's a syrup company, right? So their ACOS, because it's a repeat product, it's not going to be as standard as with others. So we're not really looking into the ACOS is just one of the many metrics that are actually delivering or measuring the success. Because if I know my lifetime value, which is rarely discussed in Amazon conversation, because Amazon yet to provide any lifetime value, well, they actually one of the newer they can post with. I have to figure out what is my first customer acquisition with an ACOS. But then if that becomes a repeat customer, subscribe and save, it gives a different view or different metrics to look and track. So yeah, ACOS is just one of the things that you as a seller have to pay attention to.
Got it. With those comprehensive marketing plans you were talking about, I'm curious, what does the actual research look like for you or people on your team to kind of prepare that? Are you doing competitive analysis? Are you using tools like Helium 10 to size up the market? Or how do you actually figure out what?
Yeah, and like well, that's one of it, of course, is the competitive market analysis. But I think the brand tells us more than anything else because let's break it down. For example, doing promotions, right? And we're doing quantity promotions or cross selling. So our analysis goes into understanding what the customers expect and love on that brand. Do they want to get more value, and what SKUs they like to buy more? And we're looking into their order values. What is an average order value looks like? So when we see that, it gives us an, hey, we need to do buy 2, get 10, buy 3, get 20, buy 4, get 30. Or understanding the brand, what is your complementary products? Okay, so if you're buying the pecan butter, the butter pecan syrup, you're also most likely to buy the maple one. So offering that cross-selling and bundling, or, examples like that exist pretty much in every brand. Now, when it comes to using the promotion as a marketing tool, that is the biggest advantage, right, analysis that we do. If we're looking into the different areas of marketing, for example, coupon or repeat coupon, we will look into more what the competitors are doing, but understanding what the customers love, the product, and B, love to get as far as the value, that allows us to craft, we know what, we're going to do 10% on repeat buyers, but we're going to give 20% coupon on a subscribe and save, because subscribe and save value is a lot longer. So I rather give more initial discount to get your subscribe and save customer than if you're just being a simple repeat purchaser or if you're just being one. So it's always a very healthy mix of understanding what overall markets are doing. Sometimes it's just simple as what the competitors are doing, like where they at. Because if we're running something, we just don't want to run it baseless. And that's another thing I had my Slack channel popping up, like the brand owner, like, what can we do? What type of coupon? Like, we can do this coupon. Like, yeah, we can do everything, but give me the reason why you want to do that. Give me the reason why you want to do that.
Data is huge. I know you mentioned average order value. I like tracking that, hopefully rising over time, as well as customer lifetime value, which they don't really provide. I think for some, it seems like they're getting closer. I forget what the metric is, but not like the same one that Shopify would provide. Do you have any other metric that you like to track in terms of your planning, or for like a weekly or daily pulse when you look at your clients? Like, how do you get a snapshot of their performance?
And I'd love to give a shout out to these guys because I know their tool. We use a merchant spring for a lot of data, and they are the ones who give you the lifetime value and a few others. So I personally very much in love with a product that have a repeat purchase value, because I think the data sets that we get on those is much more interesting and tells you more than just a product that has a one lifetime, cycle, right? So when it comes to the products that have that repeat purchase value, obviously the subscribe and save metrics, repeat purchase data, the percentage of customers, and the lifetime value are 3 main ones that I look forward. And, probably you're curious, okay, you have the data, how do you use it, right? So, for example, if I look into the repeat purchase, the subscribe and save is pretty self-explanatory, but again, understanding the percentage gives me an call to action. Measuring a new customer versus the repeat customers and overall repeat customer percentage basis gives me call to action. If I'm seeing that healthy conversion of the repeat customers, I can very confidently come up with the strategy that, hey, out of 10 customer, 5 become repeat customer. Now we can confidently increase our budgets, increasing only top line, not focusing on what metric? ACOS. Because at this point, I don't really care what the ACOS is going to be. If I know what is a repeat purchase value, what I know, subscribe and save value, because all I want to do is acquire that customer somewhat in the metrics that I find it suitable. But then I know once I do that, 5 out of 10 is going to give me a lifetime value of X amount, which justifies the whole action. When otherwise, if I would look at an A-class and say, oh, 40% A-class, it's really horrible. Yeah, it is. But this guy generates you $300 throughout the year.
Yeah.
That's lifetime value. And your A-class all of a sudden from 45% dropped to 3%.
Yeah. Big difference there. Going back to an earlier talking point, I remember you were talking about like your analysis on individual SKUs. And I know you were talking about looking at the market, complementary products. That makes a lot of sense to me, but with how many SKUs you manage, how does kind of the workflow for that, managing coupons, strategy, campaigns, how does that scale to companies that have hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands of SKUs?
Great question. And yes, it kind of a different set of skills. Now I sound like a Liam Neeson from Taken. It takes different set of skills. But it does. And it took us a time to develop that organization-wise. Like, again, from my background, I dealt with that. So things come into more of a clash when you have more SKUs and you also have multiple brands. And each one, again, I brought up a Merchant Spring earlier. That tool help us a lot because it gives us a progress on overall brands. So the way we do that, and there's not an easier way to explain it, but being able to be systematic, being able to break it down per brand by brand, and let's kind of put stages of work, right? One of the examples that I have, it's a company that had, I think, dozen of their own house brands and also the other brands that they distribute. So they're part of an Amazon account as well. So those aside, their house brand itself have 1,000 plus SKUs. So what we were able to do, we're able to break it down between the brands of priority and then create systems and tools that would allow us to first visualize it, all those SKUs that we need to work on, and then put the action items on next to them and being able to report, higher up, which is each ASIN, where are we in terms of what we internally call, and I don't want to claim this term, but we call it retail readiness. Because, their titles optimized, their bullet points are optimized. Once we have our files filled with the priority action, then we create a weekly or monthly plan, how many we're going to complete. Most of these organizations also do not want to spend a dime until they are confident that their pages are fully optimized. So starting with that, which is a catalog work, being able to have that system, files, recorded files, it's the ways that we start every relationship of that nature. These departments work together to bring it up. So you have the guy who will be behind the strategy and do the research and give the idea for a copywriter, and then the creative designer will do their own questionnaire to be able to nail it down, the creatives from without doing less friction of back and forth with the brand owners, and the account representative who will convey that information and will give a final good green light to the company. And after company's green light, everything will go to live. So the systems and having those systems is the biggest thing when it comes to managing that many SKUs. Once you have the retail readiness part ready, then you can start implementing the more of a marketing strategies to grow brand by brand. And one of the interesting factors with that, when we are putting marketing effort and marketing dollars towards one brand, we see that lift across pretty much other segment. Because one of the things what we do, again, we're using our creatives, for example, the A+ content to interact and offer our other products, complementary products. So that gives the boost to the others and that lifts that. And we love storefronts, and storefronts is just a great place to be able to drive that traffic. So it's been, when we're looking into kind of a multi-brand development of the marketing, working with the storefronts and other data points within a storefront that Amazon started releasing, right? Didn't have that much before.
Yeah.
It's our way to go. Retail readiness, systems, retail readiness, and marketing cater to each brand. And usually when the organizations see a brand lift after one, they start allocating marketing budgets for the rest of it. So it's up to us to duplicate it and up to us to understand every brand and what type of marketing will work for them the best.
Got it. When a new company comes to you, are there any common pitfalls or areas that you see a number of companies lacking in?
I think their detailed pages will be the first thing that comes in mind right away. And interestingly enough, I do see a lot of successful brands that do not have fully optimized pages. Brands that are 7 figures plus, the detailed pages are not really optimized to capture the most. So if I put a common denominator across many things I see, that will be the one. Now, of course, followed by some more common mistakes in an advertising strategies they do. Sometimes I just, found shocking some of the agency treatments of these brands. Yeah. I don't know how they stay in business, but that's a conversation for next time. But yeah, the detailed pages are meant because you have to realize that detailed pages, like we are just so got used to Amazon and online shopping that we don't realize that the detailed page is the same as your store. If you have your store disorganized, 30 things everywhere flying, no one would want to shop from. And that is what's the segment of the idea of a detailed page is. If everything is organized, if your title tells me what I want to hear, if your pictures explain me your product in and out from picture 1 to picture 7, your reviews back up your claims, your price point is somewhat manageable, and your A+ content gives me more information, why would I not shop? I would, chances of conversion increasing. So neglecting that is the biggest mistake. If there's anything to take out of this call, Amazon sellers, please look into your detailed pages. Look not as a seller, but as a buyer. Would you want to buy from you? Ask that question to you. And if the answer is no, then just you got to work to do.
Great. Well, I think there's still so much more we could get into, Ruben, but this has been fantastic. So where can people that want to learn more about you and your agency go to find out about you?
Absolutely. So easagency.com, it's our main website. I'm also very active on LinkedIn as a Ruben Alikhanyan or our agency there. And if any case you forget like who was that guy, just to remember Professional Amazon Services. That's the abbreviation of the PAS. If you Google them, I'm sure you'll find it.
Sounds good. All right. Bye, Ruben.
All right. Thank you.